So it looks like for the past couple weeks, we've heard a lot of rumors about this company getting bought by someone. We don't know exactly who it is. We don't know if it's actually going to happen, but I figured this is a good time to make a video and just speculate. You guys know how I do it. I'm going to speculate on who exactly should buy EA and whether or not maybe they shouldn't be bought at all. But before you guys know it, hit that like button if you guys enjoyed the video. You can always subscribe to the channel for weekly content. And don't forget to go over there and follow me at Twitter at LordAddictILP. Without any further ado, let's talk about this EA thing. What's going on, you guys? Gaming Addict here, coming at you for another video. Today we're going to be talking about EA. You know, that big, colossal giant that makes all these games. Well, they publish a lot of them. They publish games like Sims, Madden, FIFA. Well, that's clearly being changed now. Battlefield. They also are the owners of stuff like Dead Space. You got a lot of properties that EA owns, and I think they've been always one of the juggernauts that people automatically assume could never be bought. But with stuff like Activision being bought by Microsoft, I think that really put a jolt into the industry where people don't really think if something could be bought. People think when can something be bought. And for the past couple of weeks, we've had a lot of rumors going around that maybe EA's looking to have their company bought, or at least by far just do a merger, something that can take a little bit off of the financial stuff that they've had. Now, we have seen a lot of their games have went lower in sales. Now, I'm not going to be on like this fence saying they ain't making money. I'm pretty sure EA making plenty of money, but I do think that some of the games that they've been making is on a downward spiral than not necessarily an upward one. You know, you got games like The Sims. I haven't really heard too much on this game in a while. I know that people still love it, but you ain't really seen too much movement on the actual IP. You got Battlefield. We don't need to really go over Battlefield because the past couple games, in my personal opinion, have been a huge letdown compared to earlier installments such as Battlefield 3 and, you know, Bad Company to a point. There is a lot of stuff that's going on with the EA that I feel like could justify them searching around to buy that company. But at the end of the day, even if they're wanting to sell, what makes sense? What is a company that would buy them and still give them the creative freedom to make EA better and not necessarily go in the same line that they're currently going now? I know a lot of people are worried about consolidation, and to a point I would agree on some of that. I do feel like these bigger companies being absorbed or merged with another bigger company is going to make the industry smaller. But I do have a question to you guys. What have EA, what is Activision, what has any of these companies done to really, you know, escalate the type of games they make? I feel like for a long time, especially companies like Activision, they get comfortable making one thing because they know it makes money, and they never really try to go away from that too much. But I can already hear you guys now. But Addict, if they're making money and everything is good, why would they ever sell? Why do we want them to sell? Now, I don't know why they would sell. There's a variety of different variables of a reason that stakeholders in EA would want to sell out their stock and, you know, pretty much do a majority takeover with someone. But one of the biggest reasons is maybe they're just done. They see stuff like Activision and they see these investors at Activision getting these huge payouts, these huge paychecks from selling all the stock that they currently own in the company. And I could see that being very enticing to someone at EA, where it's like, look, I've been in this for a long time. Let me just cash out now and go retire on an island somewhere. And I think you're probably seeing a lot of that mentality when it comes to a lot of these bigger companies. But once again, I want to rephrase that question to you guys. What has EA really done that has made their brand better in the past 5 years? I couldn't really tell you anything. I think the biggest thing that they've done is Respawn Entertainment. I feel like that studio by itself has breathed a little bit of life into EA. But is it enough to really justify continuing the path that they're going? Because that's only really one part of their company. It's one small part. Respawn is by far probably their best studio in terms of innovation and, you know, thinking outside the box. But I'm willing to bet you it doesn't make anything close to like a Madden does, or even maybe Sims for that matter. That is one of the key reasons that I personally would like EA to be bought by someone, you know, merge someone. I don't even care if they merge with someone. It's like, just do something that's going to change who's making decisions, because I think that's the biggest thing. We got to get people out of the comfort zone of just wanting to make quick, easy money, and we want to innovate the industry more. We want Madden to do new things. We want, you know, whatever they name FIFA to do new things. The Sims, bring that back in a good way. You know, Command & Conquer was canceled because they didn't make the kind of money that Madden them make, because it's not simple. We want someone with outside the box thinking, and I feel like right now with the way things currently are at EA, I don't think you're ever going to really get that. But the question, and the only question, is if they were to sell, who would it be to? Now, according to Twitter, you got a couple people out there really looking. You got Google, Disney. But one thing I have seen over and over again on Twitter that looks like this is probably what's going to happen is Apple was actually really interested in merging or buying EA, most likely buying EA, because they're one of the companies that have the kind of money to just straight out buy it if the people choose they want to be bought. Now, is that good for the industry? I don't think that is, because that's going to probably be like an exclusivity thing. And we got a lot of sports games, and I do feel like a lot of their games is so anonymous with being a third-party game that it's going to be weird if it goes to exclusivity to some type of platform. I don't know if they would make like their own console to put it into the market. Now, we have to admit, if they can maintain the licensing for EA games. Now, everyone got to remember that a lot of EA's biggest games comes from licensing, like Madden, FIFA, which they currently gave up. There's a lot of licensing issues when it comes to doing their games. Respawn's making licensed games right now, such as Star Wars. So it's kind of interesting to see how they would handle that after they acquired someone like EA. I don't know if Disney would work with Apple. I don't know what kind of relationship they have. Maybe that's something that they wouldn't be looking at. And I have no clue what the NFL would do with Madden. So it's kind of curious that if they do get bought by Apple and Apple decides to, we want to make our own console, or maybe they want to make their own launcher for PC. Well, it's not necessarily PC, but Mac. What exactly happens to the infrastructure of those sports games? Keep in mind that those sports games that EA makes is kind of really the only ball game winner in those industries. You don't really have any competitors to something like Madden or whatever FIFA's called. You don't really have any competitors to anything in that matter, regardless what they make. Now, I will say that when you did get some competition going in there with 2K and the basketball game, that it really kind of went downhill for EA because they didn't really necessarily have a lock on that industry. And personally, I think if they did get bought by, Apple or something, you're going to see a lot more of this, because I don't know if they'll be able to realistically keep the licensing exclusivity from these companies such as Madden. Now, I'm not going to say that there's zero chance they can, but I feel like if Apple bought them and they wanted to make them exclusive to like the MacBook or anything like that, I don't know exactly what they call them over there on Apple. I'm pretty sure it's called Mac. But if they wanted to make it exclusive to Mac, unless Apple was willing to pay the difference that they've made currently with Madden games and with the other games that's on the EA roster, I don't know if those individual companies that license out those to EA would be more comfortable losing that type of money. They would have to at least bring the money that EA's bringing now. Now, I don't know what the sales to these games are, because like I've said, for the past few years, I have seen a downward trajectory when it comes to their games, but they're still making a lot. And a lot of these companies such as Apple, Google, they think they can just come in here to the gaming industry, buy up stuff like this, and still make the kind of money that they envision in their head that they can make. A lot of these people and a lot of these companies don't feel like they need to put any work. Money can just buy everything. And at the end of the day, money can buy a lot. Money can get you timed exclusivity to games. Money can get you a lot of ground that you don't necessarily have when you first came in the industry. Look at something like Epic Game Store. They came in with the money approach, and sure, a lot of people really don't look kind to what they did. But you know what they did do? They did set some kind of ground floor for their store in the industry. Now, sure, I will admit they were very aggressive, and they're still aggressive to this point, but they're not as aggressive as they used to be. And I do feel like you need to be that aggressive to get into the door. Sure, you could do things better, and I think even EA knows that. You know, Epic could have did things better, EA could have done things better. So I think that's the most important question, is what their expectations are. Are they just wanting to come in here and make money, be like a third-party thing where they just got the handout every 6 months when they're like, yo, give me money for this quarter, we're gonna see how it is? Or are they coming here with more other alternative motives where they want to actually push something, push a product, push a subscription service, push something that needs this content in it, such as like Game Pass? Maybe got their own console they want to deliver in the next 2 or 3 years, and they need this type of library to really push that product. Then I would say it's okay, because it's putting back into something else. But if you're going to make it like an exclusive thing to like Mac, I don't think that's really good for the industry. But I do think that will encourage more competition in the games that EA does make. Because I personally, like I said, I don't feel like Madden, the NFL, I don't feel like these other companies that license out all of these brands to EA is going to keep that exclusivity talk if they have sold to someone else. Now, I don't know anything about that. It's like I said, when it comes to being bought, obviously there's Tencent in the works. Tencent is always looking to buy something. Now, I don't know if they would spend this type of money on them, but if Tencent bought them, I felt like it would pretty much just go the way it's been going, where they would just take money. That's usually their MO. They only really care about money. It just, at this point, like I said, the biggest question is, what do they want EA for? Do they want them for some kind of exclusivity on a service or a console, or do you want them for money? I think that's the biggest question in that matter. But regardless, like I said, man, they haven't really did anything innovative to any of their products in the last 5-10 years. Well, 10 years might be a little bit pushing it. So maybe it is good they're being bought by someone, you know, just to change the person at the helm. Sometimes that's all that is needed to really get some new ideals going into this system. And I'm for it, man. I'm for it. I feel like companies like Activision, EA, they need some change of tone management. We need to have some different types of games being made from them, because I do feel like, once again, they're getting very comfortable with just making the same type of games because they know it's going to sell. And I'm not saying there ain't nothing wrong with making money. I'm just saying we could do both, man. We can innovate and we can make money, because a lot of other companies do that. But anyway, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you think EA is going to be bought by someone? And if you think they're going to be bought someone, tell me who. I'm very curious to read your guys' comments. And until next time, this is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace.